Well, congratulations, everyone. I'm congratulating you on committing to your health and starting this WildFit journey. Just by signing up and joining WildFit, you've made a commitment, and that commitment is to yourself and improving your health and the way you think, feel, and believe about food. So I'm excited that you're here with me on this journey, and I really wanted to take a moment to go back and revisit my introduction, since I unfortunately forgot to hit record last time. And then if anyone hasn't done an introduction yet, we can touch on that before we get into more about the enhancements and how you guys are doing with the challenge. So to start off, I'm Dr. Ryan Wagner. I grew up in Northwest Ohio on a farm with my grandfather and my father. They farmed 300 acres of cash crops, soybeans, wheat, beans. When my dad was younger, they had animals. They had, chickens, cows, pigs, etc. And my grandfather has a huge garden, acres of garden with fruits and vegetables and plenty of great things to eat. So when I was younger, I really didn't appreciate it. I was all about the hamburgers and hot dogs and pizza, and didn't appreciate all the great food that we had grown right there for ourselves in the garden. I had enjoyed math and science while I was going through school, and my cousin became a pharmacist. So I went to work with her, and I decided that I wanted to help people and from a pharmaceutical standpoint, improve their health. So I went to pharmacy school at the University of Toledo. I met my wife, Rachel, there in organic chemistry class, actually. Her father was from Houston, actually from Springfield originally. He got relocated to Houston for work while we were in pharmacy school. So he worked for Cameron, which was big in the oil industry, and became a supervisor out there. We went to visit, liked the warmer weather, change in atmosphere. We wanted to see what a new atmosphere was like, and plenty of opportunity in Houston. I interviewed with a bunch of different community pharmacies because I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I actually, when I interviewed with Walgreens, I knew that's the company I wanted to work for. And started with Walgreens, managed several different pharmacies, 5 different pharmacies before I got promoted to pharmacy supervisor, and just happened to be back in Dayton, Ohio. So back to Ohio we came. At that point, we had 2 kids. Russell was 4 at the time, and Rosemary was 2. It was great to have additional babysitters available. And also, we decided to homeschool the kids. So Rachel stays at home with the kids and enjoys that time, makes things a little bit more flexible for me since I'm traveling. Now as the healthcare supervisor for Walgreens, I cover a majority of the state of Ohio. So I have 84 stores that I cover and travel around. So I'm constantly on the go. And Russell is now 11, Rosemary's 9. Just got their Bible test back and are great. So they're ready to start college, actually. The state will pay for some college classes, so that'll be helpful. Then it came about WildFit. So as I'm counseling patients in the pharmacy, everything's about diet and exercise. The first line of therapy that every physician will say when you have a chronic disease state, if it's hypertension, cholesterol, diabetes, is you need to adjust your diet and exercise more. But how do you do that? So I struggled with my weight all the time. So I was trying every single diet there was. And I tried paleo and keto and, quick weight loss and Atkins and every exercise program there was, and all the Beachbody programs and P90X and Insanity Body, you name it. I was trying all of those things. And it wasn't until I found, had this mindset shift and found WildFit that totally changed my relationship with food and allowed me to really keep the weight off. It was always a roller coaster, and it was when I found WildFit that all my other health conditions improved as well. The high cholesterol, the allergies, the trouble sleeping, all of those things. So that's a little bit about me. I know we've met some of you, so I'd like to continue with introductions. If you haven't done an introduction yet, you can chime in and introduce yourself to the rest of the group before we dive in deeper to WildFit's Day 1 videos. So, Troy, it looks like you were the first one to join. Are you in a place where you can do an introduction?
I'm in a place right now. Yep. Yep, I'm good now. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Anybody
Tell
have
us a
kids
little bit about
already?
yourself, where you're from, why you joined WildFit, what your goals are.
Sure. My name is Troy Taylor. I'm originally from New York City. I live currently in the greater Atlanta, Georgia area. And I do a couple things. I work with young adults, training them for entry-level careers in IT in a nonprofit space. Fabulous program that's been around for a while, helping young adults. And also, I have a executive coaching practice that I'm developing. More clients, et cetera, and so on. Mm-hmm. And so that's really where I want to go full time, even though I love what I do. So I probably still would do it in some capacity because it's very fulfilling. But in terms of why I joined WildFit, I'm just, I work out occasionally. I'll get a program. I won't stay on it because I get busy. Of course, those are all excuses. Mm-hmm. I'll eat a certain way. I have no problem committing to a program, but then if I get off it, I noticed I really had to admit to myself that maybe I do eat emotionally sometime. I really want to lose maybe 25 pounds, 30 tops, not probably about 20, 25 pounds, but really more about the body composition and really more I want to get back to having unlimited energy like I used to have, and be fit and, having that kind of lifestyle, which is really for a change, the weight and everything will adjust itself. And then I'm sure I'll be more energized to maintain my body weight type of exercises. My wife was going to join the journey with us. She has my son and just came in, so she won't be on the call, but she's going to take the challenge as well. And, just to put it simply, Ryan, I'm just tired, man. I'm just sick and tired of, looking down, seeing that stomach and saying, this is not it. This is not it. And for me to really connect with my clients, even though I don't coach them on health, which sometimes it could go to that, how can I really make an impact and really feel completely authentic if I haven't been able to work through my challenges, right? And so that's being out of integrity. So I have to make some lifestyle changes, and I'm really ready for it. There's some things I do love to eat, but to be honest with you, everything I ever wanted to eat, for the most part, I've eaten. Maybe I'll travel a little more, maybe some new things, but I'm good. I'm ready to get to a program. This is what I have to eat. That's it. I'm just sick and tired, really. I'm done.
You're right on. I realize that too. In my role as pharmacist and trying to talk about health, I have to portray health as well and make
Right.
sure that, health and fitness is a foundation that everything else can be built upon. So you're in the right place, and we can definitely work on, you said it right. It's a lifestyle, and we're going to change that lifestyle. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just ready for that change, and you just get to a point where you're like, I can't take it no more. I can't.
Yep. And I'm glad that your wife is joining us as well. So it's always great when you've got that extra support in the household. So it's awesome. Great. She'll have to chime in and introduce herself as well. If she wants to, she can, post in Facebook group, share a little bit about herself.
Okay, sure.
Awesome. Who's next? Lori, are you there?
I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
We
I'm
can
like,
hear you, but we can't see you. I don't know if
you can't see me. I know. I'm a mystery. No, I'm just kidding. It's because I'm in my computer that won't allow me to do.
Gotcha.
It's a work machine. It's a corporate America machine, so I can't Skype. So I dialed in like I'm used to Skyping all day long at work. So anyway, it's hi. I'm Lori.
Hello.
At some point you'll see. I'll put a picture up or something. But so similar to you, Ryan, I come from the Midwest. I come from Iowa, and I come from people who farmed as well. So that's my lineage, although that's not how I grew up. But I did grow up very healthy cooking, and still to this day, that's the basis of how we kind of, I guess I run my household. I have two children. I'm 48. I have two small children. So I have a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old. So I got started in life kind of late. I was a lawyer by trade, so I didn't have a lot of time to have a family. And finally had a family and switched to Troy. Actually, I'm in IT now, which is actually much saner than practicing law. So, yeah, right. And so I have to admit this because I know it drives most people crazy. Like, I never had a weight problem my whole life. I came from very healthy people. I was very athletic. All of that stuff was all a part of my life. And so within the past, I'd say 4 years, I've just had some, bizarre health challenges, and I've gained like 40 pounds. And so most people who look at me would go, well, you're not, fat. I don't know. Everybody defines fat, right? For themselves is a different thing. But it is for me bad. I have 3 closets of clothes that I can't wear. It's frustrating. I don't want to put on a swimming suit to play with my kids. I can't do the things that I've always done my whole entire life. And so it's impacting me. I'm a crab. I'm not a nice person, and it keeps me from living my life. And so where I'm at, I guess, is like looking at things going, okay, I've done all the things, Ryan, like you did. I've done keto. I've tried paleo. I've done all of those things, and nothing seems to work. In fact, I think I've gained weight doing those things, right? So I'm like, it's maddening to me. And I'm just at this point where I'm like, okay, so something has to change, right? It must be the psychology of, I need to change somehow my beliefs and what I'm eating or what I'm doing. And so that's kind of really what I'm looking for, is how can I kind of really retrain myself in my thought process and my relationship with food. And Troy, like you, I really tried to analyze this and go, I don't think I'm an emotional eater, because I'm pretty systematic about, being nutritious and doing the right thing and the right supplementation. But then I'm going, well, maybe I am. And so watching that video that Eric talked about today, that, the dialogue in your head, right? About what you're doing before you eat, how you feel, taking the bites and all of that kind of stuff, really hit home with me to really say, well, you know what, there probably is more there that I just haven't been analyzing. Yep. So that I thought today was pretty, we all have a story, right, about food, no matter what it is that comes from the way we grew up. So it's just attacking that belief system and figuring out what it is and changing it. So that is what and obviously I want to lose this stupid weight because it's driving me nuts. I am not the person. I don't feel like myself. I feel like I am an alien in my body.
Yep. So, you're right on, thinking that, continuing to do the same thing, thinking something's going to change is like almost the definition of insanity. We have to change up our behavior, our habits, our beliefs in some way, shape, or form if we expect different results. And we're definitely here to do that. And we're going to dig and even deeper to find out what that dialogue is and what our beliefs are around the food that we eat. What are some of those hidden meanings and rules? And we'll get into that even more throughout this week. So awesome. So glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Excited for the journey.
Me too. And of course, my family doesn't know it, but they're on this journey with me. They don't have a choice, right? But it's good for us all. So I will be the liaison, because mom's in control of what gets on the, in the lunch sacks and on the plate. So,
yeah.
Yep.
So lead by example and let them observe. We talked a little bit about that yesterday, and how humans learn from observation. So don't necessarily push, but just allow them to observe and ask questions. And the why, right? When you were younger, it was always why. We're going to talk about 5 whys here in just a moment, and how we can continue to drill down ourselves and find out exactly why we're doing the things that we're doing. So, cool. Awesome.
Thank you.
Alrighty. I think we have one other one here. Pat, let me unmute you here. Can you hear us, Pat? You want to do introduction as well? I don't know if you can hear us, Pat. We can't see you, so I can't really tell if you can hear us or not. We'll chime in the chat. I'll try and keep an eye on it and see if you can hear us to do your introduction, or you can always post some things in Facebook. So I believe we've got Leah and Joy and Stephanie. I believe you've all done introductions, so we're all set. Awesome. Well, show of hands, who's already watched the day 1 video with Eric today? We got 1 person so far. So today's video's a little bit longer. It's probably the longest of all of them. Obviously, it's the first one, right? You got a lot of information to share. It's an enhancement day as well as the day 1. So just a couple hints for you. If you're playing back Eric's video, if time is an issue, you can focus on it. Just change the playback speed. You can increase it to 1.5 or 2 times the speed to speed things up. Incorporate it into your commute or your travel, or where you can listen to something on the go. But it wouldn't hurt to take notes. I'd encourage all of you guys to have a notebook, and if we're talking with somebody else and a question comes up, you can write it down and then chime in a little bit later. But there's always good information to share and learn from each other as well. I want to talk a little bit about the WildFit platform. So everyone got an email from WildFit headquarters that has their password and information to sign into the official Get WildFit website. There is where it'll unlock videos throughout the reset or throughout the challenge. For these first 2 weeks, we'll have daily videos from Eric, daily meaning Monday through Friday, not on the weekends. The weekends will be the buffer zone. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But you'll also have Zoom calls with me. Next one will be Wednesday. We'll have an opportunity to go through questions, see what information you have, check in with you, see how things are going, and also be able to put my spin on it, do some storytelling, and share some different examples. Now, when you're in the portal, a couple things I want you to do to start off here. You should have links to I need everybody to take their pictures, and you're probably wondering why. You'll appreciate having them later on. We don't always remember where we started, and having some proof, some evidence really goes a long way. And so a couple photos I'd like everyone to take. That is your side profile, your back, and then a close-up of your head. So just get your entire head in a shot, because there's a lot of details on your face that will change throughout the programs. So those 4 pictures, you can upload them to the WildFit site if you'd like. You can post them to the Facebook group. With that said, I should touch on confidentiality. A couple people have already brought it up. I've posted it in the Facebook group. So we're all in this together. It's a private group, and a lot of people are sharing private information. So from a confidentiality standpoint, it should stay within the group. And we shouldn't be sharing, others' information outside the group. Same thing for the videos. So the videos that we're doing here are being recorded, so the rest of our group members can see them at their convenience. I'm posting them in YouTube, but that's just so everybody can see them. It's a private link. It's not broadcasted on the internet. The only people that can see it are the people in our group that have that link. So it's not to be shared with anybody else, and it's only to be used for the people that are participating. So some people are asking about the enhancements and what's the list of foods you're supposed to eat. Well, that's what makes this program different. It's not a diet program. It's not going to be some list of foods that you can or can't eat. It's a psychological program. And the first thing is the enhancements. So if you're looking for the food guidelines on the WildFit page, there's a green box off to the right of the video. And in there are several links that you should check out. One of them is the food guidelines. That is the details about the enhancements for that particular week. There'll be a couple pages that tells you about the foods that you can and cannot have, as well as what you either are adding in or taking out. And you're all probably aware that we're not removing anything this week. You need to continue to eat the way you've been eating. And the thing that we are adding in is observation. Lori was talking about it a little bit, and it's slowing time down and bringing some conscious awareness to the food that we're eating. And with that comes the food angel and the food devil, kind of that positive mind, negative mind that goes back and forth and either tries to convince you to or to not to have a certain food. So what we want to do, some of you may not be aware of that conversation that's going on. The voice of the angel may be so quiet that you can't even hear her. And that voice will continue to get louder. And it's just paying attention and slowing things down to really listen for that. But we want to get good at listening to the devil's sales pitch and some of the techniques that the devil uses in order to convince you to have a certain food. Like for me, it was, I had certain comfort foods, and I love pizza. So if I had a stressful day at work, I would stop by and get a pizza. And it may even be a pizza before going home and having regular dinner as well. But that pizza was the comfort food for me. And from a pharmacy standpoint, the reason that is because, we need sugar to survive, and pizza is all sugar, even though you don't think about it. I mean, the tomatoes or the fruits that have sugar in it, natural sugars, the dough, the wheat and crust is all grains that are going to be converted into sugar, those carbohydrates. The dairy has lactose in it, is another sugar. That all of it is sugar, and we need sugar to survive. Our brain needs sugar, our heart, our kidneys, our liver always has to have sugar in order to continue to function. So we're giving our food, our body what we think we need, but it's the wrong type of fuel. All of these refined carbohydrates are not being utilized and really giving our body any nutrients that it needs. They're kind of empty calories in a way. So food guidelines, take a look at those on the WildFit website. Also, there's frequently asked questions. So there's another video there about questions that people have normally during this first week of frequently asked questions. So take a look at that as well. This week there's a bonus video. So the other two enhancements that we're going to add in are breathing, so the 5-5-5. So when it comes to survival, we have to have oxygen to survive. We can only go 3 minutes without oxygen, approximately. And we want to make sure that we're getting all of our cells fully oxygenated. And we're going to do a breathing exercise where we breathe in for a count of 5, hold for a count of 5, and then release for a count of 5. We're going to do that 5 times, and then also repeat that twice a day. You can do it more if you'd like, but the idea is to get more oxygen into our body. Also, when we take deep breaths like that, has a calming effect on our nervous system, because it's tied to our diaphragm and everything, to the vagus nerve, and it relaxes our body when we take a deep breath. So we all live busy, stressful lives that are constantly on the go, and a lot of us are in this fight or flight mode, where we have adrenaline pumping and constantly go, go, go. So taking a time to decrease some of those cortisol levels, the stress hormones, and relax. Not to mention, just oxygen being needed to burn our food. So anytime you burn something, when you light something on fire, it has to have air or oxygen in order for the chemical reaction to take place. It's the same thing in our body. If we're going to burn, fat, we need to make sure that we have oxygen in order for the chemical reaction to take place. So do you ever wonder where your fat goes when you burn it?
Here, baby.
I mean,
Yeah.
how do you get rid of fat? Well, if you look at the chemical reaction, you have carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen in a fat molecule, and we're applying water and oxygen to the chemical reaction. And basically what is released is H2O, water, and CO2, carbon dioxide. So when you burn fat, you literally pee it away and breathe it away. So a majority of your fat is just exhaled through your breath. So if you want to get rid of your weight, you got to breathe and get rid of that CO2. So there is actually a study, I can't remember the gentleman over in China or Japan, that has a Japanese breathing exercise where in order to lose weight and control your weight, it's just breathing exercises. His are a little bit different. I think he's doing for a count of 7 or something like that, and flexing his body as he's breathing out. So to really flex those muscles and release everything from his body. So doing that alone would lose weight just by doing breathing exercises on a regular basis. The other enhancement that we need to add in is water. We can only live for 3 days without water, and we need to be well hydrated. I just told you about the chemical reaction for fat. It has to have water in that chemical reaction as well. Majority of our body is water. So 6 to 8 glasses of water. And we don't want plain water devoid of all minerals. We want mineral water, spring water that has mineral content in it. See, our body is a big battery full of electrical charge. There's constantly electricity flowing throughout it. If you have plain water without any minerals in it, it will not conduct electricity. We have to have electrolytes in our body, the sodium, the chloride, the potassium, the magnesium, calcium, all those different minerals in our blood, in our body, in order to conduct electricity. Every thought, every muscle contraction is an electrical impulse, and we need that to conduct electricity and make things happen. So are you going to feel better if you're fully hydrated? What do you think? Of course. You're going to have that ability to, contract muscles and fire neurons and things to actually get things done. So drink your water. There's a bonus video that you can also check out this week on water. It goes into a little more detail about water. And from my standpoint, I mean, people will ask, what kind of water do you use, or do you buy water? Basically, I have city water, municipal water that has been treated with regular chlorine and fluoride. But I actually put it through a Berkey filter. It's a activated carbon charcoal filter that also has a DE, diatomaceous earth filter on it as well, to filter out all the impurities as well as the fluoride and the chlorine, but also leave all the minerals still in the water. I live in Springfield, so there's plenty of springs around. The water is usually pretty good, but you want to get spring water or mineral water from some type of good source that's got plenty of minerals in it. So we talked about the 3 enhancements. what kind of questions do you guys have around adding in the breathing exercises, adding in the water, or the observation, the increased awareness and around the food that we're eating? Everyone's good?
Well, Ryan, I have a question for you. This is Lori. Does it make sense? I know that Eric talked about, that's almost like doing a script, right? Angel devil, right? Really slowing down time. Do you want us to, and I was looking, and maybe this is part of the check-in, like really to journal what we're eating,
Sure.
So you really are, because I think that might be sometimes, right? We don't always remember.
Exactly.
Would it be helpful, do you think, to be journaling everything, kind of making that causal link, right? Like if you're having a snack or you're doing something, not only remembering you took the snack, but what were you feeling and all that stuff. Like if you're like in the middle of the day, what are you feeling? Or why did you choose it or whatever?
Thanks for the reminder. So when I was talking about
okay.
that green block there, there's actually a place for you to do check-ins and journal entry as well. So
okay, all right.
There's an overall questionnaire that I think everyone should fill out. And the reason that is because it goes into your health goals. There's a reason why we went around and did introductions and we talked about why we joined WildFit. You have to know your why, and we'll constantly be revisiting that why and why you want to achieve the things that you want to throughout this, so that it has purpose. You're committing to yourself to achieve a goal. Some people even do, vision boards, so that you have that constant reminder. What does your life look like at the end of this challenge, or when you are perfectly healthy and fit and eating the way you want to? So visualize it. Visualization is very powerful. So yes, you can journal. Yes, you can do vision boards. I encourage all of that. So fill out the questionnaire. That's going to give you your why that you can go back to it and look at anytime throughout the challenge or the reset. Then also check-ins. Check-ins are a little bit more about the food that you ate. So if you want, you can let me know that you put it into the check-in, and I alone have access to that. So I can go in and I can look at the foods that you're eating and give you feedback on what's working, what's not working, things that you might want to tweak or change. So if you want to put all of that into the portal, you can do that into the check-in. Then there's also a spot to journal. And Lori, you're right on from a journal standpoint. Having a reference to go back and just some of the aha moments and the realizations that you have, being able to put it into your own words, helps you solidify it for you. And just, rewriting that information, reconnects those neurons. And the more often you fire the neuron, the stronger the connection gets. You'll see throughout this challenge that there's going to be habits that we have that no longer serve us, that we kind of want to do away with. And, if we don't fire those neurons will, reconnect and create new pathways. And we want to fire the new habits that we want to make. And journaling is just going to help that process, solidify it even more, because you're refiring those neurons and what you want to occur throughout the process. So awesome, Lori. Thanks for the reminder. All that information that's available for you in the portal. It's confidential as well. It's not obviously nothing's a requirement. We want to participate as fully as possible. But what I'm hearing you say really is you're encouraging us to check in and do that, because it'll help you coach us and ask questions and all that kind of stuff. Okay. You got it. With anything in life, you get out of it what you put into it. And Eric talked a little bit about adherence today. You guys committed to doing this and improving your health. And there's just that basic commitment. And then there's taking adherence to a whole new level. And I want you to play, full out, but then also kick it up a notch even further, to really, go above and beyond to change and make this lifestyle truly a new lifestyle, a new habit for you. So think about your why and how you prioritize things. And we just mentioned earlier when we were talking with Troy, how health and fitness is the foundation for everything. Stephanie was talking about it, I believe, yesterday from a vibration standpoint, and realizing that everything has a vibration to it. And if we want to raise our vibration as our body and connect to our higher self, we have to put things into our body that are a higher vibration.
Okay.
And all the foods
Here, stick
that
it
we
on this plate.
consume have a vibration as well.
No.
You can actually do energy testing to test the foods and see if they work for you, or if they are compatible for your vibration and your energy that you're at. That's taking things even to the next level. But you're right on. It's all about your engagement with this program and how far you want to take it. You're always going to have access to these videos, the videos from Eric from the WildFit headquarters. As long as WildFit headquarters is around, you'll have access to Eric's videos. And then our Facebook group, we'll continue to have a private Facebook group so that we can continue to interact. We'll get to know each other very well and have that additional support as you live WildFit, further into the future.
Okay, Daniel. That's our true caution.
Awesome. Any other questions about the portal, about the enhancements? Yeah, Joy, go ahead.
No.
Mute you.
Follow me.
Question. In my Asian diet, we drink a lot of soups, and we have soups with noodles, soups with rice, almost on a daily basis. When I went through the bonus video by Eric, I heard that during the meal itself, try to refrain from having too much liquids, as it will dilute our stomach acid and hinder digestion. So I'm wondering whether having a lot of soup during our meals is a good idea, or should I refrain from it totally?
You're a little quiet. It's hard to hear you, Joy. I don't know if your microphone's muffled, but
Let me try again. Can you hear?
That's much better. There you go. So
All
what I
right.
got was you have a lot of soup, and you were asking about consuming water along with your food and how it affects your stomach acid.
Yes, because that's what I gathered from Eric's video, right? To refrain from too much liquids during our meals. And it's very customary in our Asian diet to have a lot of soups, and the soups are very diluted, very watery. So should I stop doing that?
From a soup standpoint, I mean, there's nutrients in the broth as well. So there's benefits to that. And obviously it's hydrating. Do you have a lot of concentrated foods in with the soup, meaning beyond just plant material? Do you have like meats and things like that?
Yes, there are meats. Sometimes there's fish in the soup. Sometimes there's pork and chicken, things like that, with vegetables, of course.
So as you can probably tell, every food has a different transit time through our digestive tract, and also requires different enzymes and stomach acids in order to be digested. So if you look at the category of food from like animal protein, very concentrated, tough, dense material. And the job of the stomach is to liquefy the contents. So to break down a piece of meat, you need strong stomach acid and different enzymes to break that meat apart and to get it to liquefy so that we can get the nutrients from it. So when you're consuming a meal, the gastric emptying time for water is about 30 minutes. So what that means is about 15 minutes, about half the water is going to leave your stomach, and by 30 minutes, pretty much the rest of it has gone from the stomach and entered into the intestines so that it can be absorbed. So if you want to consume water, it's best to have water about 30 minutes before your meal, because then you get into a meal that has more concentrated fats and proteins. our body has to produce all the stomach acid. And we need minerals in our system in order to make strong stomach acid. That's part of the problem with our digestive problems, is we don't have the nutrients that we need in order to make the stomach acid to digest the food that we're consuming. It turns into a vicious cycle. So if we can concentrate our stomach acid more so that we better digest the food that we are consuming, it would be better. So to not drink a bunch of fluid while you're eating concentrated foods with fats and proteins in them. Plant material has a little bit different transit time, less than your proteins. It's a little bit, they have water in them already. They're a little bit easier to liquefy, especially raw plants, fruits and vegetables already have enzymes in them to enable some of the digestion. They're living things as well. So soups aren't terrible. It just depends. Probably there's probably some soups that are better than others based off of the concentrated of foods that are in it. So yes, you're going to get some of the nutrients from the soup, but if you want to improve your digestion and enhance it even more, you might want to refrain from all the broth that is with it, or have it separate. See, as a hunter-gatherer, we wouldn't have combined all these foods together. A hunter-gatherer would have been a lot of mono eating, where you go out, you hunt an animal, you eat that meat. You go out, you gather nuts, you eat those nuts. You go out, you gather plant material, you eat that plant material. It wasn't combining all these things together, and that's where we kind of get into problems, is with all these different food combinations. We weren't intended to put proteins, fats, carbohydrates, sugars, all these things together. It just confuses our body. We can't digest all the things at once. We need to, kind of digest this one, absorb those nutrients, because there's different stomach acids, there's different enzymes for every one of those. And if we combine everything together, we're not doing our body, the greatest by getting all the nutrients out of it that we need. So that's why a lot of times we're nutrient deficient. A majority of the people in the Western Hemisphere in America are, deficient in vitamin B12, deficient in zinc, deficient in magnesium, leads to all these other diseases as well, and low energy levels. So we'll talk more about that throughout this process. But for all of you, the moral of that story is, don't continue to drink your water during your meal. It'll help your digestion and your absorption of the nutrients. If you stop having water 30 minutes before the meal, allow it to empty before you start to eat. Is probably the best situation. Great question.
Thanks, Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Is that Shilpi?
Yeah. I just had a quick question about the water.
Yes.
So I live in Southern California in Orange County, and I don't know, if there's natural springs or anything here. What was what did you say that you use?
A Berkey water filter. I can post a link to it in the Facebook group, but it's a Berkey filtration system. There's different sizes. It's activated carbon charcoal filters. And then you can have an option to add on a DE, diatomaceous earth filter as well, to help remove some of the fluoride and chlorine and some of those other ions and stuff that are treated with regular city water.
So I had mentioned to you that I listen to Dr. Mark Hyman a lot because I follow the functional medicine, and he recommends AquaTrue, which is a reverse osmosis filter, which is what I use in my house right now. And so I just wanted to also know if you've heard of that. Is that okay for this or no?
The only thing with reverse osmosis is you're removing all the minerals. Do you add minerals back in some point throughout the filtration system or to your water?
I'm not sure how I would be doing that. I just take the tap water and I filter it through the AquaTrue. Yeah,
I can see if I can find out some more information on, there's some mineral replacements. I would probably Yes, it's completely devoid of everything.
Hey, Ryan?
Unfortunately, it's like pure water, and you're not going to have all the minerals in it that you need. Leah, you had your hand raised. Did you want to comment on it?
Yeah, just because I did a lot of research back in the day, and Mercola had a good Himalayan salt has all 84 minerals that the body needs. So we use an RO because that's what's available to us here. We then vortex the water, which is kind of silly and excessive, but the RO and then adding Himalayan salt, I think it's a 1/4 teaspoon per gallon is all that's necessary to remineralize after an RO. So you can Google that. You can go on Mercola's site. He's got a whole process for it.
Oh, how much did you say? 1/4 teaspoon per gallon, you said?
Yep, exactly. It just dissolves. But it's the pink Himalayan salt, not like white table salt.
Right, right. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, good to know.
Good forms of salt. And Lori mentioned that AquaTrue might already mineralize the water.
Yeah, I think it does. So I was listening to it's funny that we're bringing up water because I'm like was listening to a podcast on Ben Greenfeld's podcast the other day. And so he had a whole entire podcast on water that was actually really fabulous because they went through that whole process, Ryan, of RO and remineralizing. But I think that the AquaTrue, because I was looking at it the other day as well, it remineralizes. If
it does remineralize.
Yeah, it does. It's a 3-step process, and it does remineralize. That's why I think, it's. But I know, Ryan, I have a Berkey too. So, I mean, either way, they're all 6 and 1/2 dozen the other. If you don't have a whole house,
is there a Berkey like small enough that you can carry with you? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, they do have a straw that's just an activated charcoal that you can carry around with you, and when you're on the go, drink through the straw.
Awesome.
You just got to get a bunch of clean canteens and walk around with your water.
Yeah.
I don't have my water bottle here to show you, but I went to Costco and got these stainless steel bottles that are 40-ounce bottles. Got quite a few of those so that I do have my water with me.
And they're on, I'm going to give a promo right now, not a promo, just a shopping tip. HydroClean, if anybody's, those, they're on sale everywhere, 25% right now at all your large sporting goods stores, REI, Dick's, everywhere. So
HydroClean?
And TJ Maxx. HydroClean. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they come in fun colors and sizes and whatever, like a Yeti. You can also get them at TJ Maxx. I just saw them there the other day. You just have to shop around and look for them, and they'll jump out at you everywhere you go now because we put that in your subconscious, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because we're talking about it. You'll see them everywhere. But they're great, and they'll keep your water, cold if you like it cold. But I just keep them. I keep them everywhere because then at least you have water that it's filtered and you're not drinking some junk.
What? I'm sorry. What is HydroClean? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Like Clean Canteen is a brand. HydroClean is a brand.
Oh, okay.
They're all just like Yeti. Yeti is a brand. Yeti is the most, but some of them are on sale right now, like nationwide. They only go on sale like twice a year because they're expensive. I mean, they're not cheap, right? But you have REI in Orange County. They have them. They're on sale.
Okay.
Whole Foods carries them too. Yeah, and they'll put them on sale at Whole Foods. They'll sell Clean Canteens, and they're on sale, like usually 25% off every other month or something. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's a water bottle?
Yeah, I wish I had them. I wish I had one. Here, now you guys can't see me. Frustrating. I'll have to do this for my iPhone next. But yeah, they're just, you would know them if you saw them. Everybody's walking around with them nowadays, but they're insulated, and they're bigger. Okay. You can get 16 ounces, 32, 40, and some of them are colored, so they're stainless steel on the inside, and they're thermal. So they'll stay cold for, but I don't know, 24 hours or 30. Some of them just depends, and they'll keep stuff hot, too, so it's like a thermos. But they're fashionable. Yeah, they're fashionable now, and so, with everybody not wanting to drink out of plastic and just, being environmentally conscious. That way you can have your own water that you choose and keep it. And you look,
do they filter
and
the
you
water?
look cool. No, well, it's a container. It's just a vessel for you to put your own water in.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, you got it. So you can pour it around, and you can get different tops and accoutrements and everything full around. Yeah.
Yeah. Filter your water at home, and then you can take it with you, I think was how this story began. And yeah, there's lots of different things, and I can even post some reusable straws. But the thing I wanted to stress with you guys is, how do you create this habit, this routine to drink your water? So my son sets out glasses of water in the evening, so he remembers to drink the water. I have a 30-ounce glass and then 40-ounce bottles to refill it. But there's also containers that are graduated in the sense that they've got marks on them that says you need to have this much water drank by 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and it goes right down through the hours of the day as to how much water you should be drinking. It's funny, I started WildFit, and like I said, everyone learns from observation. So I'm bringing all my water, drinking my water, and the people at work are picking up on this. So my boss goes and buys a half-gallon bottle of water that's got all these hourly markings on it, and he's always checking to make sure that he's got his water drank by a certain time of the day. So people are going to be picking up on it, but drink your water, people. It's great for you.
Hey, Ryan, I got a question.
Go ahead, Troy.
So 2 things. I heard people say RO. What does RO mean? Reverse
osmosis.
Gotcha.
So it's a filtration system that basically will take everything out of the water, including in minerals. So that's why we're talking about putting minerals back into it, because we want to have those electrolytes in our water to provide the electrical current and fuel our battery.
Help fuel, but got you. And then the other question, and the other thing I want to reflect on real quick was, I forget where I read or I heard that before in terms of eating different types of foods at the same time. I think it was someone told me don't eat protein and carbs at the same time, or different fruits. I can't remember, but it is something to that, because if you just think when you eat different foods, all this crap processed food that we have in America, you get gas and things digest at different times and processed stuff, forget about it. And so I don't eat a lot of processed food, but even when you're eating fairly healthy food and you mix in a lot of different things, can cause gas, and I guess cause a lot of work on your digestive system for all the things that you just said.
Yep, we're going to dive into that even more throughout these next few weeks. So yep, you're right on, Troy. And we'll talk about gastric emptying time. This is where I put my spin on it. Eric mentions it, but I'll go into more detail for you so you understand the real why. But gastric emptying times for fruits, for vegetables, for meats, for fats, what we should combine together, what we shouldn't, grains. And, Eric talked a little bit about the food industry, and I think we mentioned it yesterday, that the food industry is a business. It's not out there for your health. They want to sell you more food. So take a look at the restaurants. So why would you go to a restaurant and the first thing they give you is free bread, bread so that you can eat? Well, first off, that bread is going to turn into sugar. And it's going to start to increase your insulin. And once the sugar spike drops, you're going to have excess insulin, and you're going to get a craving to eat more. So the restaurant wants to use that craving to eat more, so that you purchase more food. It's been shown that, if you eat bread before the meal, you're more likely to order dessert. So they want to sell you more things. Now, the other thing, grains, there's really no gain from grains. It's just empty. There's no nutrients there. So the other thing with grains are they just shut down your digestive tract. What we did as humans, we took this grain that was intended for a bird, And, this grass drops the grain and the bird picks it up and transports the seed to another location. The seed doesn't want to grow in the root bed of the parent plant. Well, everything is in constant battle for survival and not to be eaten. The seed doesn't want to be digested. It wants its offspring to continue to grow. So it's got these protective coatings on the outside to pass through the bird's digestive system. And it also informs gluten, which would inflame the immune system or the digestive system and allow it to pass through faster so it doesn't get digested. Then there's all these other chemicals and chemical defenses inside the grain to prevent the bird from digesting the seed. What do? We grind up the grain and expose our digestive system to all of those things all at once. And some people are just more aware of the inflammation that the gluten causes than others. I'd say some people say they have an intolerance to gluten. If you'll see as we start to grow our awareness and consciousness around food, all of us do. We're not intended really to eat those things, not really to expose all of our digestive system to it. If you ever took flour, if you were a baker, and it got wet and it was on the counter and you just left it sit there and you didn't clean it up right away, once it dries, what happens to it? It hardens like plaster, and it's like rock hard cement, and you have to like chip it off the counter. What do you think it's doing to your digestive system? Your digestive system's got all these little nooks and crannies. It's this huge long tube that's just wrapped all around all over the place, and it's got all these bends in it. So people that have Crohn's disease and digestive celiac disorders and things like that, where they got these bowel problems, we've just plastered our intestines with all this flour and grains where they harden. The intestines harden and cause pain, and we decrease all of our absorption and cause inflammation and problems in the intestines. We got to get rid of that and scrub it out so that we can digest food better and absorb the nutrients that we need to. So yes, the restaurant industry wants to give you free bread so that you eat more, is basically the end of that story. So it's all a business, and they're not necessarily out there for our health. So any other questions before we recap?
No.
Okay. So has anybody heard this dialogue going on back and forth? Any examples of the food devil saying, oh, you've had a hard day at work, you deserve this cookie, or you should have some ice cream, or you had a great day at work. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was on mute, so I unmuted myself. But yes, in fact, I hear people in my house have that dialogue out loud. So they are also they're sharing it, right? Like, hey, I don't know where everybody's from, because we're from different places in the country, but it's summer, so everybody wants to go to Dairy Queen. Oh, it's hot.
Yes.
We've had this. Good job at your softball game. You guys are awesome. Should we go to Dairy Queen? Right? And it's like you're creating that emotional pattern that, hey, you did good. Food will make you happy. And of course, I'm the Debbie Downer that goes, no, don't do that to our children. Yeah, but then of course I eat a dilly bar because mom can't, totally look like she doesn't want to have fun and be you know what I mean? It's like, I don't always want to be the food Nazi either. I mean, a part of me, it's really, really difficult with children, which we all seem to have, striking a balance between wanting them to be able to not have a guilty association with some food items, right? I don't want to create this. Then when they become an adult, they have that dialogue of me in their head going, don't eat that evil food, right? And that would cause them emotional issues too. So it's really a fine line, because that's what my mom did to me growing up, right? She was always worried about how she weighed, what she looked like, and demonized food, right? And you're eating that, and while you're trying to enjoy your meal, she'd be telling you how many calories, how much fat, why you shouldn't be eating it, right? So there was never any, so I have that constant dialogue in my head now, and that's part of one of my problems, probably, but yeah, so it's constant, right? Because my mom's in my head always going, don't eat that, that's fattening. That's bad for you, right? Constantly. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's grass-fed butter. It's not going to kill me while you're eating spray-on butter that's full of toxins. So anyways, sorry I digress. I was having a therapy session out loud for everybody.
Well, that's
But
all part
I'm
of the
sure
work.
we all-
So I'm
Yeah,
glad you're
I know.
observing it. And you mentioned it before, journaling it and writing that out. So part of the homework, obviously enhancement, is the internal dialogue and this conversation back and forth between the food angel and food devil. If you start to hear this conversation, it would be great to write it down. If you want to post it in the Facebook group, that would be awesome. It'd help other people see what the devil's sales pitch is using and how the food angel conversation is going back and forth. So this week, don't forget the internal dialogue. Bring this conscious awareness to the food that you're eating. Slow time down. Really pay attention to the decision and why you made to have it. What emotion might be tied to that, and what it felt like to have the first bite, the second bite. And then are you aware as you have the third, fourth, fifth, sixth bite? And how do you feel afterwards? So really pay attention to that. Don't forget your breathing exercises. Don't forget your water. And another thing that we're going to dive into is meanings and rules around food. So for part of your homework, start to see if you have any meanings or rules that you have assigned to food. And some examples might be like, if you're going to the grocery store and it's on sale, so food's on sale, I should buy it, right? Or I'm at work and somebody brings in donuts or something like that. Well, it's free. It's free. I need to eat it. Might be some of the rules that you have. Or you might have rules around when you eat. My mom had to have dinner at 5 o'clock every day. Didn't matter if she was hungry or not. 5 o'clock was dinner time. Everybody sat at the table immediately at 5 o'clock. Or there's different, we talk about food decisions. We create these rules and meanings to eliminate decision making. Every decision takes energy. That's a neural impulse that required electricity and energy to occur. So when we create these habits and these rules, we eliminate the decisions. It just makes things easier. So my mom was working on Mondays and Tuesdays. So we had spaghetti every Monday and hamburger helper every Tuesday. There was no decision that needed to be made about food. It was something that I could make easily before she came home when she was tired from work. So every day, that's what we had. So see what kind of rules and meanings that you have around food. And that's part of your homework, and we'll discuss more about that on Wednesday when we get back together.
You said Wednesday or Tuesday? Do they have a call tomorrow?
Is there? Maybe I'm getting my times mixed up.
Yeah, there's a call on the 2nd at 8 p.m. tomorrow, if I'm reading this correctly.
Let me check.
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow at 8. You're right. Perfect. Stephanie, I saw your note there. I'll private message you afterwards. We'll see if we can work something out, if we need to open a ticket or anything like that. Awesome. Anything else, guys?
No.
Well, if you have any other questions, comments, don't hesitate to put them in the Facebook group. You can reach out to me at any time. I will see you again tomorrow, and we'll dive into your homework and see what you think about meanings and rules.
Okay.
All right. Awesome. Bye for now. Have a great day.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Good meeting.
All right,
Bye.